Today, we're going to make banana wine, in case you didn't guess. Let's get started. All right, what we're going to need, obviously, bananas. I've got, should be 3 pounds here, and you can see they're pretty ripe, but that's okay. Make sure we're teared out here. Okay. Yeah, it's okay if they're a little ripe. They'll still work. They still have their sugars in them. Okay, we have just shy of 3 pounds because somebody ate one. It was me. That's all right. We got enough here. 2.11 or 2 pounds 11 ounces. That'll work fine. So what we got is our bananas. We're going to add sugar, and we're going to add various things to it for brightening it up. Brightening it up, taking some of the pectins out. We've got acid blend to give it some brightness, and pectic enzyme to break down the pectins in the bananas. There's a lot of pectins in there, and then some wine tannin to add some body to it. We're going to leave the skins on, so that should add some tannins to it, but not a lot, and we're not going to leave them on there for a long time. So and of course sugar. We've got our fermento, which is a yeast nutrient, and we've got some potassium metabisulfate or K-met, and that helps break down, that'll help kill any of the wild yeast that's on it. This has been sitting here on the table. There's wild yeast floating around everywhere. We don't want the wild yeast to be competing with our yeast that we're going to add. So we're going to add some of that, and we're going to boil. So let's get started with bananas. We're not really going to boil. We're going to simmer, but that's okay. What we need to do first is slice our bananas, and we're going to put them in a pot here. So first we want to cut off the ends. We don't need the stems and the bottom ends. I think that's just going to, I don't know, I just don't want to have those in there. So we're just going to slice all those off. Just taking the little ugly bits off the bottom. How do you all peel a banana? It's the great debate, right? Do you peel from the stem or do you peel from the bottom? Some people say you should always peel from the bottom. I don't know. In order to do that, you kind of have to put your fingers in there or bite it off. I've done both. I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference either way, but people like to have debates about things, so we'll let them debate over that. I haven't watched the monkeys in the jungle. I don't know how they do it. Some people say they peel it from the bottom. I don't watch monkeys, except at the zoo. I'll have to watch next time I go to the zoo. All right, so we got those ends cut off. Then we're just going to slice them. I'm going to give them kind of a long slice, more surface area. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make any difference, but important thing is get them in the slices so they have more surface area to release their sugars and their pectins. So I'll slice these, and everybody's sliced bananas before. You don't want to watch me do that. That's pretty boring. So I'll just come back in a minute. Okay, got our almost 3 pounds of bananas sliced, and now we need to add water. We're going to add a total of 1 gallon, but we're going to add half of it now. So we'll just add, whoops, making a mess, Mike. That's about 2 quarts. those all spread apart in there. And then we're going to add half of our sugar, which we're adding 2 pounds of sugar total. So we're going to add half of that in there now. Tear that out. Take our plain old granulated white sugar. Add 1 pound. Okay. 1 pound, which is 2 cups. So we're just going to add that in. Stir that up a little bit. Stir it with, drop it in our sanitization liquid. All of our tools we've sanitized in our sand tub, fermentation bucket that we'll be using in a minute. Obviously didn't sanitize the pot because we're gonna bring that heat up. We're gonna actually simmer it, so let's go ahead and get that on there, and I'll have to stir it until all of the sugar is dissolved, otherwise it'll burn and stick to the bottom. But we're gonna simmer it for about 20 minutes. While the bananas are simmering on the stove for 20 minutes, I'm going to add the other pound of sugar to the remaining water so that we can start getting it dissolving. We'll just add it in there and then just keep stirring until it's completely dissolved. So I'm just trying to maximize my time here. So we're just going to stir that up and get all the sugar dissolved, and then we'll be ready to go in on our next step. So we'll get this stirred up and let the bananas simmer. Okay, got our bananas in our sugar water simmered for about 20 minutes. And now we're going to, I'm going to strain the water off into the pitcher, and then we'll separate the bananas. These over here, I'm right-handed, so have this on the right side. Cannot find the colander, so we're going to use this handy little strainer that Mrs. Smokin and Drinkin has. Hopefully we don't make such a huge mess here. Now you're wondering, why not just dump it into the fermenter right away? Well, I'm really curious if we lost anything to evaporation. Obviously, I'm losing some to spillage here. Okay, we easily have over a gallon. So I'm going to stop before I spill all of it on the counter. So I'm thinking that some liquids came out of the bananas because we started with a gallon. And I know a little bit of the volume is added with the sugar. I understand that, but that's all right. So we are going to add this to the fermenter. Now, some recipes say to just remove the bananas and discard them and just use the banana water. I feel like there's still a lot of sugars and flavor and tannins and things still in the bananas. So we're going to add them to the fermenter, but we're going to use a boiling bag or a mesh bag to put the bananas in to help minimize the pectins and the cloudiness. Bananas have a lot of pectin in them. We're going to add pectic enzyme, but I want to try and minimize the pectin, but I want to get as much as I can out of those bananas. We'll pull them out after about a week, but let's get started here. So let's see, we still have some banana water left in the pot. We're going to just add that in here. Don't want to waste any of it. Yeah, that little strainer thing works pretty well. I didn't lose any bananas or anything. So. Okay, steaming up my glasses. All right, that's good enough. So I think what we're going to do is add all of the liquid in, add all of our additions, and then we'll drop the bananas in last. So let's go ahead and leave this in. It looks like I've heard some people say dishwater. It kind of looks like dishwater. It's not the most attractive thing, but that's okay. Let's see. So now we need to add our other ingredients. Well, I got a mess everywhere here, don't I? So we are going to need a teaspoon of pectic enzyme. There we are. And obviously we can't sanitize these, otherwise half the powder will stick to the measuring spoons, but they've all been washed. So we're gonna add some potassium metabisulfate. That'll help a little bit with it as well. So let's see. So we need 1 teaspoon of pectic enzyme. Now the instructions on here say half a teaspoon per gallon. I'm gonna go with this. This is North Mountain Supply pectic enzyme. I'm gonna go with their recommendation, half a teaspoon. Well, I got a quarter here. We'll do 2 quarters. There's a quarter, and there's a half. Okay, and then we need to add our acid blend. What do they say? 1 teaspoon per gallon. All right. I'm gonna do 2 halves. Should have dug out the 1 teaspoon. Nope, this is 1 teaspoon. Okay, we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of acid blend. Again, that helps with the brightness of the wine. And then we need wine tannin, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per gallon. We're going to go with a quarter, which we have here. Like I said, the skins are going to be left in. They'll add some tannins to it as well. Okay, that's the powdered wine tannin. And then we need to add our potassium metabisulfate, their instructions. 1/4 teaspoon per 6 gallons. Yeah, it doesn't take much. It's almost a pinch. It's like, so normally people would use Camden tablets. I have this whole big pouch. That'll last me forever. But I'm going to just use, so 1 Camden tablet is about 1/16 of a teaspoon. I've got 1/8 here, so I'm just going to go half of that. It's not super important to be all that exact. Again, it's like a pinch. So, and this is gonna, like I said, break down, kill the wild yeasts that were on the bananas. Help sanitize this a little bit. You can also use that as a sanitizer instead of Star San if you wanted to. I prefer the Star San. So, all right, we've got our must started, and my bucket is, I got it measured off. We're just slightly over a gallon. That's okay. All right, now it's going to get a little weird, a little messy here. Probably should have did this first before I put all that liquid in there. Wasn't thinking clearly, I guess. This is a pretty big bag, so we're going to have a lot of extra here, but see if we can do this without making a huge mess. Done with that. Let's try and get these in here. No, that wasn't so bad. All right. Okay, so then we just gather up. We'll just tie this bag off as best we can. Not like there's going to be a lot of activity going on in there, so it's really not that important. Get that down in there. Now it is important while it's fermenting to open up the fermenter and make sure that bag is pushed down and everything stays wet. Otherwise, there's a chance for bacteria and mold and things like that to grow on there. So about every day, just open it up and take a spoon and push it down. Make sure it's all wet. Okay, now we're going to let this set for 12 hours to let the K-Met do its job on those wild yeasts. So we're going to cover this, but we're going to cover it and let it sit for 12 hours. It's been 12 hours since we added the K-Met to the banana must. Smells like bananas. Okay, let's see. First we're going to add 1 teaspoon of fermento. I don't need a whole lot, but we're going to go with 1 teaspoon. And then we're going to put a whole packet of Lalvin EC 1118 yeast. Again, if you're doing this, you really only need a fifth of this, about 1 gram. But I usually just hedge my bets and put the whole packet in there. These packets are a little older anyway, so I need to get them used. I think I got these back in 3 or 4 months ago. Okay, got our yeast in there, got our airlock, got our yeast nutrient in there. We are ready to go. We're going to let this set for probably a week at least. I usually go about a week for me. All right, we're good to go. We'll put this away on the fermentation shelf. Let it set for about a week, and then we'll be back. Our banana wine has been going for 12 days. And it is time to check it, take a measurement, and probably we'll rack it twice, but let's go ahead and get in there and see where we're at. It's definitely time to get the bananas out of there. As always, smells like wine. I say that kind of in jest, but we kind of want to make sure it doesn't smell like something off or wrong or vinegar or anything like that. So, it's part joke, part serious. All right, first thing we want to do is we want to get the bananas out of there. Set that aside for a while, and we'll go ahead and take a reading. It is definitely done fermenting. Yeah, it is. Wow. I've never even seen it go that low. 0.98986. Never even seen it go below 0.9990. So it is dry. Need to elevate this so we can get our siphon going. Get this in the fermenter. And we want our cap on the bottom to filter out some of the leaves that I'm sure are on the bottom. We just can't see them. And go about halfway down in the bucket. Get our siphon going. And we'll be back in just a second. We are way up above my comfort zone. We may have to sample a little more out of there, but speaking of samples, let's go ahead and see how this tastes. Like I said, it definitely smells like wine. You can smell the alcohol on there. I'm not getting a lot of banana on the nose, but and again, obviously it's cloudy. That'll have to settle out. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. It's an interesting banana color, very light banana color, but let's see what it tastes like. It is very, very dry. I think there's just a slight hint of banana on there. It's very, very young. It's not something I'd want to drink right now. I wouldn't serve this, but I think I know it's going to require some aging. I definitely think it needs some back sweetening. So Probably going to have to siphon some more out of there so that we have some room to add some back sweetening. I think what we're going to do is add a non-fermentable sweetener like allulose or erythritol. I'll have to see what I have in my cabinet, but let me go check that and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a packet of allulose sweetener. It is a sugar alternative. It's a non-fermentable sugar. So what I mean by that is if we added regular sugar in here, it would probably start fermenting again. We used Lalvin EC 1118 yeast, so we didn't calculate the ABV. I was going to say we may not have hit the yeast ABV tolerance yet, so let's quickly calculate our ABV. So currently our ABV is at 14.96 or about 15% ABV. So I think the Lalvin EC 1118 probably, you can't always go by their yeast tolerance. It could start fermenting again. So we're going to use a non-fermentable sugar substitute. And the allulose says that 1 cup of sugar equals 1 1/3 cups of allulose. And we know that 1 cup of sugar adds about 0.046 points of gravity. So if we added a cup of sugar, or 1 1/3 cups of allulose, that would bring our specific gravity up 1.032. That may be a little too sweet. We don't really know. We're not really too concerned about where we end up on specific gravity, but we want to know. We're going to go by taste. So we're going to start with half a cup of allulose, and that will probably add, probably about maybe 0.025, something like that. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, I'm going to start with half a cup, and we'll add as we need to, but I'm going to start at half a cup, and just going to add it right in there. Now, obviously, I didn't sanitize this. If I sanitized it, then it'd be wet. Then half the allulose would stick to the measuring cup. You get the idea. I am going to sanitize our spoon. All right. I'm pretty sure it's going to take more than half a cup, but we'll just go little by little. Okay, so what I am going to have to do is empty my glass. I don't think I want to drink all that. I might get drunk trying to do this. I wouldn't get drunk. All right, so we're going to take a sample, test our sweetness, and see where we need to go. Oh yeah, as expected, that's still very, very dry. So we're going to go with another. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with 3/4 cup this time. It might take this whole bag. I don't know. It is so dry. Now you could stop during the fermentation process and add, you could add K-Met, potassium metabisulfite, or potassium sulfite to halt the fermentation process, but that's why we're using the non-fermentable sugars. Better take a smaller sample. A little more than that. It's getting better. We're getting closer. I think we're going to go with another half a cup. So if we had half and then 3/4 and another half, that's 1 3/4 that we're up to. Check me. Did I do my math right? Okay. I'm pouring that out because it just it's still very young, and you know, it's not ready to actually for drinking yet, but we got to figure out where our sweetness needs to be. All right, we're almost there. Really starting to get a little bit of that banana flavor. I think after some aging, it'll definitely start to come forward, that banana. It's there. With the alcohol and the being so dry, it's just kind of overpowering it right now. We're going to go with another half a cup. I think that should get us right where we need to be. Whoa, Mike. It's a good thing because we're almost out, almost used this whole bag already. All right, I have a feeling we're going to be about there this time. Okay, now that's pretty good. I like that. We could go maybe just a little more. I don't know. I kind of like that. I think that's where we'll stay with this. So we need to take a reading, figure out where we ended up. You know what? There's just a little bit left in the bag. We may as well go ahead and it's about half a cup. We may as well just go ahead and add it in there. Mrs. Like I said, Mrs. Smokin Drinkin likes it sweeter. We'll go ahead and add it in there. All right. Let's see how this is. I'm pretty sure we're going to be right there where we want to be. Yep. That's pretty good. That is good. And we use this whole bag, which is 1 pound. We added 1 pound of erythritol. Let's take another reading so we can know where our final sweetness is. Careful. So now you can see it's floating quite a bit higher. We are at 1.030. That would be classified as semi-sweet, I think. So we'll write that down. Added 1 pound of erythritol, or allulose, excuse me. And our final gravity is now 1.030. And I've forgotten, were we at 15%? 5, yes, 14.96 or 15% is what we're going to call it. 1.030 on the sweetness. And now we'll just put a lid and an airlock on it and Put it back on our fermentation shelf. Pour this in very gently. And we're going to let it sit and age. We'll probably let it sit in here. We call this bulk aging when you put it in the... You can bulk age or you can bottle age. Probably let it sit for at least 3 or 4 months before we bottle. And at 1 year, we'll do a tasting and be sure and bring you back to see that. But I think that about does it for the banana wine. I want to thank you for joining us here at Smokin and Drinkin. I appreciate all of you very much. Remember to hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow this channel and keep bringing you content like this. Hit the like button and hit the notification bell. You'll get notified of all our future videos that we do. So, as always, Prost!